referenced this lad culture you mentioned, startups. Is that what you've seen? I think our company is a little bit different to that, but I'm just asking if that's what you've seen generally.
Do you want to just quickly say who you are, where you work?
I work for Misguided, just up the road.
Thank you. I think it's not all-encompassing for every startup out there. I just think it's the theme that I've seen that's beginning to emerge that we can kind of nip in the bud quite quickly. And I think, for example, at Spaceport we run Silicon Drink About every Friday. I mean, I don't drink, so I don't really go to it, and I'm antisocial. But then there's every Friday, like the tech scene gets together to talk about the startups, tech, what they're working on, UX designs, etc., etc. And the feedback that we've had is quite intimidating. If you're it's quite cliquey to new people, but if you're also female coming to a bar, we always say just look for the geeks in the bar and you'll find them, and go and talk to them. And as a female going into a bar, there's a bunch of men in the corner talking about tech, and going up to that group, introducing yourself and getting involved with that. With I'd say I've had at least about 10 people come back to me and said that's it's not the most welcoming of environments. And it's only since we've asked I don't want to embarrass us here, but Gabby Iskander to get involved with running that. Not only has the turnout increased across the board, but we've seen much more participation from women, which is great. And she's a wonderful person anyway, but she's bringing that alternative perspective to the situation, which has helped us out so much. So I'm not saying that all startups are, by no means, but I'm just seeing some themes that I think we can address really, really quickly.
Yeah, I would just say that when I worked in sort of 100% male-dominated environments, the minute you bring a female in, everything changes. Their personal hygiene, they brush their teeth more often, they wear antiperspirant, especially if you've got lots of lads under the age of 30 and you bring in a sort of 22-year-old girl. Ooh, happy days. So it does need to be, and they can, if you keep an eye on it. One of the first things I noticed when it was Tech Hub, I walked in and I opened the door. It was a place I'd never been to before, there was no signs, and everyone just stared at me. And that was quite intimidating, and I'm a difficult person to intimidate, so I smiled, gave an eyebrow flash, as you do. I'll teach you about this in the bar later. Smiled, gave an eyebrow flash, nothing back, and I thought, my God, what a miserable bunch this are. So it's little things, if you teach them the little interpersonal things, because sometimes in the workplace now, it's changed a lot, all the red tape came in with labour, and you looked at somebody the wrong way, sexual harassment, which was a good thing, it needed to happen, but it's kind of gone too far and our interpersonal skills are suffering. But if we just encourage people to do little things like smiling, teach them about facial language, I could see it was sort of dripping off your lips there, it was there. Yes, so being able to read people and read situations, we'll all get on a lot better.
I'd echo what Shaf said in the sense that I think the fact that groups, there's a wonderful lady who I met at your first Women in Tech event called Lizzie Dyson, who runs Ladies Who UX. And I think the fact that she had to start a group called Ladies Who UX echoes what she needed to be in an environment where people who did that job didn't have to go into a bar and feel intimidated, but they did want to talk about the things that the boys who UX were talking about. So it's definitely there, but hopefully it's early stage and we can nip it in the bud. So
I've got a slightly different variation of the answer. It's not necessarily about the startup culture. It's just regarding tech in general, like the events and things like that we kind of go to. I mean, I've been to loads of events, and there'd be a lot of time I'd be with Shaf. I'd be the only woman there in the room at the kind of like start of events. But just last week, I actually spoke at the Manchester Business School, and they had an event on disruptive technologies for the MBA students. And there was 30 speakers at that event, and I was the only female on the panel. And that shows actually, I think one of the things that we need to look at is that we've got some really strong, confident women in the room, that actually we should be shouting about our own skills and shouting about our own successes and putting our hand up to say, actually, I am the expert in the room and I should be speaking at that event. Instead of turning up at events and thinking, oh, I'm the only person in the audience, or there's only 5 women here. Actually, how many women do you see? I mean, one of the things that I'm really proud of tonight is that we've got some great women here in the room and some great panellists, but how many women do you actually see when you are at these other events speaking?